Hello, my friends. Leave a comment where you see us and at what time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Emily had always dreamed of owning a historic home, and when her grandmother passed away, leaving her in 1925 Craftsman House, she felt like she'd won the lottery. The house was a gem, with its wide front porch, leaded glass windows, and intricate woodwork. As an interior designer, Emily was eager to restore its charm and make it her own. She moved in on a sunny Saturday, her truck loaded with boxes, ready to start this new chapter. The house felt welcoming at first, its aged beauty inspiring her. But as she unpacked, a subtle unease crept in, as if the walls were watching her every move. That first night, Emily was jolted awake by footsteps upstairs. Her heart raced as she listened to the steady creaking, like someone pacing in the empty bedrooms. The house was supposed to be vacant. She hadn't moved furniture upstairs yet. "Just the house settling," she whispered, trying to calm herself. She crept upstairs, flipping on lights, but found nothing. The rooms were as she'd left them. Yet the air felt heavy, charged with an unseen presence. She returned to bed, leaving the hallway light on, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. Over the next few days, strange occurrences piled up. Her keys, always left on the kitchen counter, appeared on the dining table. A vase from the mantel was found on the floor. Whispers, soft, indistinct voices, seemed to emanate from the walls. Emily tried to rationalize it as the quirks of an old house, but doubt gnawed at her. She began painting the living room a light blue to brighten the space. But as she worked, a chill enveloped her. Her paintbrush felt heavy, as if guided by another hand. She paused, heart pounding, but saw nothing unusual. Determined to push forward, Emily hired a contractor to update the bathroom fixtures. But the renovations seemed to anger something in the house. Tools vanished, only to reappear in odd places, like the fridge or under her bed. One day, the lights flickered wildly, and the contractor fled, muttering about a haunted house. Emily's frustration grew. She loved this house, but it seemed to resist her changes. The whispers grew louder at night, and once a door slammed shut so hard it shook the walls, leaving her trembling in her bedroom. Seeking answers, Emily researched the house's history at the local library. She found articles about Henry Wilkins, the original owner who lived there for over 50 years. A recluse, Henry was obsessive about his home's upkeep and died alone inside, his body undiscovered for days. Could his spirit be lingering, upset by her renovations? The thought sent shivers down her spine, but it made sense. The house felt like it was clinging to its past, resisting her attempts to modernize it. In a bold move, Emily spoke aloud one evening. "Henry, I respect this house and its history. I just want to make it a home." She felt foolish, but hoped it might help. That night, the activity escalated. Doors slammed repeatedly, and heavy footsteps paced outside her bedroom. She hid under the covers, heart racing, as the house seemed to roar its disapproval. The next morning, she found her paint cans overturned, blue paint pooling across the living room floor like a warning. Desperate, Emily contacted a paranormal investigation team. They spent a night in the house, capturing EVPs that chilled her. "Leave it alone," and "This is my home." The lead investigator confirmed Henry's spirit was likely tied to the house, resisting change. Emily realized she needed to compromise. She halted major renovations and focused on restoring the house's original features, refinishing floors and repairing old fixtures. She even hung a photo of Henry she found in an archive. As Emily restored the house, the disturbances lessened. The whispers faded and the footsteps stopped. She felt Henry's presence, but it was no longer hostile. It was as if he approved of her efforts to preserve his legacy. The house began to feel like a home, its history a comforting presence rather than a threat. Emily learned to live with her unseen roommate, grateful for the bond they shared across time. Now, Emily feels at peace in the Craftsman house. She senses Henry occasionally, a gentle reminder of the home's past. By honoring its history, she's found harmony with the spirit who loves it as much as she does. The house is no longer just a structure. It's a living piece of history, and Emily is proud to be its caretaker.
Alex was 8 when he first saw the translucent young man in his bedroom. The old house off Bayou Teche in Louisiana had been in his family for generations, its weathered walls steeped in history. One night, a faint glow near his closet caught his eye. Thinking it was moonlight, he looked closer and froze. A young man in a tattered uniform stood there, his face pale and eyes hollow, staring at Alex. The boy's breath caught. He couldn't scream. The figure lingered, then faded, leaving Alex trembling in the dark. The next morning, Alex told his parents, but they laughed it off as a dream. "You've got a wild imagination," his mom said. But Alex knew what he saw. Over the next weeks, strange things happened. Lamps flickered on and off, and the living room radio blared static, despite being unplugged. His parents blamed faulty wiring, but Alex felt watched, especially at night when heavy bootsteps echoed in the hallway. He'd lie awake, clutching his blanket, listening to the relentless pacing.
One evening, while doing homework, Alex saw the figure again by the kitchen window. The man's uniform was clearly from the Civil War, his expression one of deep sorrow. Alex ran to his parents, but the figure vanished before they arrived. His mom's smile faltered. She was starting to doubt her own explanations. Alex felt a mix of fear and curiosity. Who was this man, and why was he here? The house seemed to hold secrets it was desperate to share. Determined to understand, Alex researched the house's past. He learned it had been a makeshift hospital during the Civil War, where many soldiers died. Their bodies were buried nearby in unmarked graves. Could the translucent man be one of them? The thought made Alex's heart ache. He imagined the soldier, far from home, lost in time. The sightings became more frequent, the man appearing in the backyard, staring at the bayou, or standing silently at Alex's bedside. One night, the soldier appeared by Alex's dresser, pointing at a dusty box on a high shelf. With trembling hands, Alex retrieved it and found a faded photograph of a young man in a Confederate uniform alongside a diary. It belonged to William Harper, a soldier who died in the house.
The last entry spoke of his wounds and longing for home. Alex showed his parents, who were stunned. They hadn't known the box existed. Alex felt a connection to William. He researched further and confirmed William had died in their home. His body never returned to his family. The boy decided to honor him. He placed the photograph and diary on the mantel, lighting a candle beside them. "William, you're not forgotten," he whispered. That night, the soldier appeared one last time, smiling faintly before vanishing. The air felt lighter, as if a weight had lifted.
The strange occurrences stopped after that. The lamp stayed steady, the radio silent. Alex felt peace, knowing William had found rest. He often thought of the soldier, grateful for their brief connection across time. The house, once heavy with sorrow, now felt warm and welcoming, its history a quiet comfort rather than a haunting presence.
The Johnson family, Sarah, Mark, and their 6-year-old son, Tommy, moved into a charming 2-story home that had been in their family since the 1960s. It was a fresh start, filled with memories of family gatherings. On their first night, as they unpacked in the kitchen, Tommy froze. "Mommy, there's a man behind you," he said, voice trembling. Sarah turned, but no one was there. "What man, sweetie?" she asked. Tommy pointed, insisting a tall, shadowy figure had stood behind her. Sarah tried to reassure Tommy, suggesting it was just shadows from the boxes, but his wide-eyed fear lingered. That night, the house felt heavier, the air thick with unease. Over the next few days, doors creaked open on their own, and cold spots appeared in random rooms. One morning, Sarah found all the kitchen cabinets open, though she'd closed them the night before. She began to wonder if Tommy's vision was more than a child's imagination.
Tommy's nightmares started soon after, waking him screaming about the man in the hallway. Sarah and Mark comforted him, but they couldn't ignore the oddities. One evening, while Mark was at work, Sarah heard footsteps upstairs. Tommy was downstairs watching TV. Grabbing a flashlight, she checked the hallway, finding it empty but icy cold. Her heart pounded. Something was wrong with this house, and she needed to know what. Sarah dug into the house's history, uncovering that her great-grandfather, Edward Johnson, had lived there until his death in 1975. Family stories painted him as a stern man with a shady past, possibly tied to Prohibition-era crimes. He died suddenly, his death unexplained. Could his spirit be lingering? Sarah shared the story with Tommy, hoping to ease his fears. "Maybe he's just lonely," Tommy said, his empathy surprising her.
One night, Sarah and Tommy sat in the living room, holding hands. "Great-Grandpa Edward, we're your family," Sarah said aloud. "We love this house." The temperature dropped, and a faint whisper replied, "Thank you." Sarah's breath caught, but she felt a strange calm. The house seemed to exhale, its tension easing. Tommy smiled, saying he felt better, as if Edward was listening. Over the next weeks, the disturbances continued, but felt playful, like doors opening as a gentle nudge. Tommy saw Edward again, but now the figure smiled. "He's sorry for scaring me. He just wanted to make sure we're okay." Sarah felt a weight lift. By acknowledging Edward, they'd given him peace. The house became a home again, its history a comforting presence.
Sarah moved into a modern house near Gettysburg, drawn to its history and scenic hills. Built in 2000, the house was sleek, but from the start it felt wrong. The air was heavy, as if the land held secrets. At night, Sarah heard whispers, faint voices with no source. Shadows darted in her peripheral vision, vanishing when she turned. She dismissed it as stress from the move, but the unease grew, making her question her new home. One night, while watching TV, Sarah heard heavy footsteps upstairs, like boots pacing. Her heart raced. She lived alone. With a flashlight, she checked every room, finding nothing but unoppressive silence. The footsteps returned nightly, always from above, as if someone was trapped in a loop. Sarah's sleep grew fitful, her dreams filled with images of battlefields and blood-soaked fields.
Researching the area, Sarah learned her property sat on Gettysburg battlefield land, where thousands died during the Civil War. The realization hit hard. Could a soldier's spirit be haunting her home? She contacted a friend who investigated paranormal activity. "It sounds like a residual haunting," her friend said. "Spirits replay their final moments, especially after violent deaths." One evening, Sarah saw him, a soldier in a tattered Union uniform, standing by her fireplace. His face was gaunt, eyes lost, as if he didn't know he was dead. She gasped, and he vanished. Shaken, Sarah visited the local historical society. Poring over records, she found mentions of Private James Carter, a young soldier missing after Gettysburg, last seen near her property, wounded and disoriented.
Sarah's heart ached for James, lost far from home. She decided to honor him, placing a memorial stone in her backyard with his name and regiment. "Rest in peace, James," she whispered. That night, the house felt different, lighter, as if a burden had lifted. The whispers ceased, and the shadows stopped moving. Sarah slept soundly for the first time since moving in. Occasionally, she still heard faint footsteps, but they felt like a gentle reminder, not a threat. By giving James recognition, Sarah had helped him find peace. Her home, once heavy with the echoes of war, became a place of calm, its history a quiet companion rather than a haunting force.
Jake was 6 when he first noticed the ghosts in his family's old house, built in the 1800s. From childhood to age 22, he lived with constant paranormal activity. Figures in hallways, faces at windows, objects moving on their own. His parents dismissed it as old house quirks, but Jake knew better. He'd seen a girl in a white dress vanish into a wall, heard laughter echo when no one was home. The house was alive, and he was never truly alone. A neighbor once told Jake the house was built on the site of an orphanage that burned down in the early 1900s, killing several children. The story stuck with him, explaining the childish giggles and toys found arranged in his room. Jake grew used to the spirits, but one presence, a tall, shadowy figure, always unnerved him. It would stand at his bedside, silent and watching, sending chills down his spine. By age 12, Jake started a journal, documenting every encounter. He'd hear a child's voice whisper, "Play with us," and find small gifts like feathers or rocks left on his desk. He began leaving toys out for the children, and they'd respond with more gifts. The shadowy figure, though, remained distant, its presence heavy and foreboding. Jake wondered who they all were and why they stayed. As a teenager, Jake researched the orphanage fire. Records confirmed several children died, their graves unmarked in a nearby cemetery. He felt their loneliness, trapped in a place that no longer existed. He tried talking to them, asking their names, but only the children responded, their voices soft and playful. The shadowy figure never spoke, but its gaze felt like a warning.
At 18, Jake decided to honor the children. He organized a memorial at the cemetery, placing flowers on the unmarked graves and saying prayers for their souls. His family and neighbors joined, moved by his dedication. That night, the house felt different, lighter, as if the children were at peace. The shadowy figure didn't appear, and the usual noises were gone. The next morning, Jake found a toy soldier on his desk, a final gift from the children. The house remained active, but the spirits felt grateful, their presence warm rather than eerie. When Jake left for college, he felt a pang leaving the house behind. It was more than a home. It was a connection to souls he'd grown to know, a childhood shared with ghosts.